Hello CS300 and welcome to my video on writing your own CompareTo method. So to explain what comparable exactly is, I wanted to show the Oracle page on the interface comparable. So a CompareTo method is a method that works on any object that is comparable. So that means they implement this comparable interface. So those are just objects basically that can just be, compared to one another. So you may have used it before. There's string, works on string and character, and obviously integers, bytes, stuff like that. So it works on all those different things, anything that you can compare, and those are all listed right here. I just kind of wanted to show that in case you were curious. I'll leave the link in the description. So as you can see, it takes in some generic T. I'm going to show you guys how to write your own CompareTo method by using a class called rectangle. But before then, in case you're not familiar with it, I want to show you exactly how the CompareTo method works normally. So I have two integers here. One is called integer smaller and one is called bigger. So I'm taking my smaller integer object and I'm using the CompareTo method and I'm passing in the bigger one. So my original one here is the smaller integer and I'm trying to see how this smaller integer compares to this bigger one. And if we visualize this, then we can see that we get a negative number. So we get a -1 if our integer or whatever comparable that we're trying to use is smaller or comes before it alphabetically. So that's in the case of strings or characters. So if I change this to be string, and then A comes before B, and so it should again be negative. But if the smaller one was actually bigger, so if I flop the two, then it would actually print out a +1 instead, and of course if they were equivalent to each other, then the CompareTo would return with a 0. So again, string and integer and boolean, these are all objects that implement comparable. And we can actually do that ourselves too. Like I said, we're going to be going over this, this example with a rectangle class. So this is my own class that I've made. I have 3 private variables. And then I have my constructor here. I just take in a length and a width. But really what I'm going to be comparing them based on is their area, and I just decided to take in length and width and not just area in itself, I don't know, just because I wanted to. So yeah, that's basically what's going on here. And of course, like I said, anything that's comparable will want to implement comparable. And you notice right away some red pops up, so let's see what it says. The type rectangle must implement the inherited abstract method comparable. So that just means that we're missing our methods, basically. The only method that's actually missing is CompareTo itself. So right now we're going to be comparing our rectangles, and I'm going to be comparing them based on their area. So if our rectangle that we're dealing with, this current class we're in, is has a lesser area than the one that's passed in, then we want to return -1. So we'll just do an if this area is less than O area, then return -1. Else if this area is greater than O.area, return 1 And then the only case left is that they're equivalent, and so really we can just leave it returning 0 at the end if neither of these if statements are entered. So then if we go over to the shapes class here, I created a main, and I'll just make 2 rectangles quick. And then I'll do 4 by 5, and rectangle 2 equals new rectangle, and I'll do 10, 10. So it's a square, technically. And then I'll print out 1.compare to 2. Okay, and if we run this, 1 is indeed smaller than 2, and so it returns -1. And if we do 1.compare to 1, well, they're exactly the same, so hopefully it returns 0. Awesome. If we do 2.compare to1, we should get +1. So that's basically it for making your own compare to. If you want to read more about it, again, I will be putting up this link to the Oracle's kind of write up on the compare to method. So good luck with your programs. I'll see you next week.